Hello everybody and welcome to another StarCraft 2 Supremacy Guide video. In this replay we'll be going over how to stop a proxy barracks build. Let's go ahead and get started, and we will actually be speeding this up so that we'll be able to get to the most important part of the replay, which will be the proxy itself. Now the first thing that we will notice is going to be an early scout from our opponent, which should tip us off that he's trying to do something early in the game. Either see what we're doing so that he can know if he's going to do some sort of cheese, or if he's just going to commit to some sort of cheese himself. Now if we do see the second scout, which it looks like our opponent is going to maneuver very nicely, that would allow us to really turn on the hazard lights in our brain. If we see something like that, then we know instantly that something is up, and we see that he hasn't had any barracks made nor any gas taken in his base, so right away we need to be suspicious. So we are going to throw down that forge, and we can see that our opponent actually is going for 2 barracks right next to our base, and so we're going to be reacting calmly to this. We can see that we are scouting around, which is going to be very important because we want to know where our opponent is building everything, and we see that it's going to be right here, so we're just going to throw down a pylon here. Now what we can do is throw down a cannon here later to be able to be in reach of this barracks, but that is not utterly important. Now we're going to send a couple probes to see if we can't pick off both SCVs, because if we can make him stop building, that is if he does have the intent to keep building, that would be great. You can see we're just going to try to micro a little bit and go for it, but if we're going to be losing probes, we're just going to pull away. In the meantime, we had thrown down 1 cannon. We're still making probes. We don't want to cut on probes, because if we have no probes and this fails from our opponent, well, he can still rely on the fact that we have just about no probes, and in the meantime he's had an orbital command. So for right now we just need to get our defenses up, and the main thing when we do go for a forge is if we do not block off with photon cannons, we want to make sure that we can react quickly enough to be able to do so. If we see him moving out and we see that he has a lot of units, well, we're going to need to bring our probes so that he can't just run by us and destroy our nexus. Now after we have about this many photon cannons down, we should feel just about fine to be able to start throwing down gateways for sort of a transition into a normal type of play. Now when we see he's pulling all these SCVs from his mineral line, we know this is going to be an all-in, so we need to do the same, and for the reason that we stated earlier is that we do not want him to just simply run by us and destroy our nexus. That would be devastating. We can see he's going to go right in for it. He knows that he's already lost too much time, and as we can see, this is not going to bode well for him. And from here our opponent will call a good game. Now sometimes our opponent will actually try to go inside of our base and maybe build some barracks over here. Well, the main thing we need to do to stop that is to first scout it, and then from there we might not be feeling comfortable to throw down a cybernetics core like we normally would, but rather a second gateway, and from there we can just pump zealots, and if we can, use our probes to pick off his SCVs. And if worse comes to worse, we will have to pull probes off the line if he does get into our base, but make sure that we're not overreacting and we're pulling the necessary amount. So hopefully you all can incorporate this anti-cheese into your gameplay and you can increase your win rate. This is StarCraft 2 Supremacy Guide videos, signing out.